Hey, it's Rebecca Smith from the KBIA newsroom in Columbia, and it's time for Missouri Health Talks, a project where we listen in on Missourians' conversations about access to healthcare. This week we hear from Lydia Olmstead and Dr. Jacque Sample. Lydia is a person who happens to be deafblind, and Dr. Sample has a son with a disability. They both work together on the Columbia Disabilities Commission. They spoke about Columbia's Sidewalks and about improvements that would make the community more inclusive and perhaps even more environmentally friendly. Here's Lydia.
For me personally, I rely very heavily on the truncated domes. That's basically bumpy dots on the curb cut at street crossings that indicate to someone like me who's blind that I'm approaching a street. And there have been a lot of improvements in Columbia, but one thing I notice a lot is that the truncated domes are aligned such that when I attempt to line up with them, they end up leading me out into the middle of the intersection. So that's an initiative that we're working on to try to improve that within the community. Also, I rely heavily on what's called accessible pedestrian signals. And those are basically talking and vibrating signals that indicate when the light has turned and you can safely cross the street. So we're also working to implement more of those within the city. Also, even just the narrow sidewalks, I know that certainly has a major effect, especially on people who use things like wheelchairs and walkers, even just people without disabilities. For instance, families who have children in strollers. I know that really affects them as well.
I very much agree with Lydia. The city of Columbia actually has a master sidewalk plan. I think it's available on their website. I'm not sure. I know I've seen it somewhere, but it is a pretty lengthy document regarding Columbia's plan on, moving forward with sidewalks where there are no sidewalks, et cetera. And additionally, the city of Columbia has a strategic plan that they adopted this past year. And it very much outlines one of the objectives is inclusive communities for making sure that those sidewalks are accessible and in places to provide equity across the community and make sure everybody has a walkable route to the places they need. And they also mention, accessibility, but equity, I think, is the key term they utilize when talking about the importance of sidewalk structure.
I would add also that sidewalks are not just for people with disabilities, they impact everyone. Certainly, the more people we can get out on sidewalks, the better. Less cars and emissions into the atmosphere. I think that would really make a big difference. Just making sure that those sidewalks are available for everyone so that it makes a big impact on our entire community, not just persons with disabilities.
You just heard from Dr. Jacque Sample and Lydia Olmstead with the Columbia Disabilities Commission, speaking about how improvements to Columbia's sidewalk system could make the community more inclusive and environmentally friendly. That's it for this week's Missouri Health Talks, which was reported by Becca Newton. Tune in next week for more conversations from throughout the state about health and access. I'm Rebecca Smith. Thanks for listening.